Do you ever stay up late at night thinking about how your actions might affect others? How through your own stupidity you burned every bridge you came across until you became stranded on an island of your own misery, only left to think about your actions in a hell of your own making? Well, that's what Windows Vista feels like. Good old Windows Vista. I bet most people already have opinion on Windows Vista without ever having used it. Windows Vista is known as a pretty infamous and divisive OS due to bugs, safety issues, and generally being a bit slow. But today I'm going to look back on Vista, looking at both the good and the bad, and I'll come to my own conclusion. Based on the two Dell PCs that I have, I've slightly modified them for this video. You can kind of tell this is what I've been doing for the past month. So let's get on to the video. My regular viewers are probably mad at me because I promised beast machines and CGI, but I had an issue with the schedule, so this is the video instead. The CGI video will be next, alongside a video on Mega Man. So what exactly is Windows Vista? Well, Windows Vista is the successor to the popular Microsoft operating system, Windows XP. Vista was released in 2006 to manufacturing and 2007 to the public. After going through development hell, as can be seen by the various betas that have been leaked over the years, Vista was in development for a few years to be the successor to Windows XP and to be the stepping stone between Windows XP and, at the time in development, Windows 7, which was more powerful and with different features. Vista was originally set to release in 2004. It released in 2007. On arrival, it had various bugs and issues. Public did not like it, along with the fact it ran really slow on most computers. We will cover why this is in the video, and some of the annoying features that it had, like user account control constantly stopping you. So let's get on to the next part of the video. So to properly test out Windows Vista, I set up two different Dell PCs to run Windows Vista. I will now describe what I did to create these crimes against nature. The Dell Dimension E310 here is actually a Dell Optiplex 755. The difference is the 755 was made with Windows Vista in mind. It has a different case. And the E310 was designed for Windows XP, of course. So I shoved a Dell Optiplex 755 into it because I liked the look of the case and I wanted to use a new graphics card with this new case. The only issue is that I had to kind of cut a hole in the back of it. It has more USB ports than the E310, so that's just what I did. Well, now the PC is top-of-the-line 2007 hardware and able to run Windows Vista with ease, equipped with an Ateon Radeon 2600 Pro, which has 512 megabytes of video RAM, and it can now run some pretty good games for the time. The only issue is that my monitor bugs out if the resolution gets too high. You can change the resolution to be lower in Windows Vista, but not in the BIOS, so it just flashes out of range for a few moments until it starts up Vista. CPU is, I thought it was a Pentium 4, but then I realized it was a Core 2 Duo. And the other Dell PC I have here has been shown off in a few other videos. Those videos have been unlisted, but you can find them here. They're from a year ago and they absolutely are garbage. I don't suggest watching these videos. I called them like the Dell Moment series. Yeah, just don't watch them. It has 512 megabytes of RAM, used to run Windows XP, and has a slow Pentium 4. It even had issues running Windows XP, as you could see in the videos. So now, imagine Windows Vista. All I did was swap the hard drive and add a DVD player. It originally came with a CD-only player, which couldn't be used for Vista, I don't think. I had issues with this PC before, but now it's mostly fine. It uses integrated graphics, and yeah, that causes a snowy effect on the monitor screen, and I'm not sure how this will show up in the video, but it's very clear in real life what's happening to it. Windows Vista PCs were either shipped not meeting the requirements of Vista, or Vista PCs were just XP machines upgraded. So let's install it onto the old Dell and see how that goes. The install went quite well. After installing Vista a few times before, you kinda get used to the jank. I don't see much of a difference in between SP0, SP1, or SP2 when they install. I'm going to have to put a disclaimer here. Some of the footage used here is not from launch Vista, but actually SP1. The reason for that is that this video is originally comparing SP1 to SP2, but I just never got rid of the footage, but conveniently the computer died, so I could just use the SP1 footage, and I'll explain if any of the footage contradicts my experience with Vista SP0. Booting up the OS takes a bit of time, but it eventually boots up, and we get to see the non-aero glossiness that Vista has. It's not aero because this computer didn't meet like some weird thing that Vista has. I'll explain it later. And it's pretty good, but it's a bit basic. There aren't really many animations, so it just feels like Windows XP, but a bit different. The basic software like file managers, notepad, etc. all work here without issue, even if things are a bit slow. So a lot of issues Vista has haven't really showed up yet. So let's test some software. The basic video player works, so you can watch movies with minor technical issues. The default software included works fine, except Windows Media Center. That just flags out the PC. I tried getting Photoshop on the PC, but it failed. I also tried Office 2007, but the PC kind of died before I could test it. I'm not kidding, this computer had a hardware failure as soon as I went to go install 2007 Office. So, yeah, that happened. So I'm also missing footage from here. So the games. You know, the stuff you're actually interested in, because I know my audience, you guys are gamers. I tested Toho 7 and it failed, while it still worked on XP. Big Rigs crashed when I tried to install it. It takes nothing at all to run Big Rigs, and Vista still managed to fail. I tried a Windows 95 educational program and it failed. Nothing worked, and then I tried FNAF 3 on this PC, and yeah, it didn't work, even though it was designed to work on Vista. It just died. Because this computer has no right to be running Vista, but hey, at least you can play Minesweeper and card games. So as you can see, this PC can't run anything, Vista or non-Vista. I managed to record some of this section with my PC before it croaked, but yeah, I managed to get it back working, but I'm not going to be pushing my luck today any further than I already have. So, Vista SP2. On a computer of the time, it runs horribly due to Vista being too advanced for PCs of the era, and just not being finished when it came out, so that's not good. This OS shouldn't be like this. This should have not been released in this state, and this shouldn't have been sent out on PCs that couldn't run it. This entire thing is a whole big mess, and it's just plain wrong. Vista shouldn't have been released needing this many requirements with this many bugs, but we can't really change history, so let's just appreciate what we have. I hate this. I'm putting another disclaimer here. A lot of the improvements here are both improvements in hardware and software on this newer computer. This is so I can show how different people have different experiences of Vista, and have different opinions because of that. Let's begin the segment. In contrast to the prior PC with a newer and more powerful PC which has Vista built in mind, it starts up quickly and without error. This is the best experience of Vista you can get. SP2 fixed a lot of the issues it had, and the better PC is able to better handle Vista programs with ease. You log in and it starts up with all the new drivers and graphics card. SP2 gave my computer a score of 4.5 on some like Microsoft rating index that determines if you get all the features. And here I got high enough that I can have the full transparent Aero desktop in all its glory with all its animations. Just looking at it and using it feels nice. Everything has an animation to it and it just feels right to use. And this time there are less bugs with the software that I could tell, and it has only crashed once while watching Shrek 2, but that was probably because the disc was scratched. It's just so nice. I can't describe the sheer childlike joy I feel just using Vista here. And I can actually get footage off of this PC directly, because it's able to use old video recording software called Bandicam without issue. This gives the footage here an old vibe. A lot of videos back in the day had this watermark on it, and I just thought it would be neat to have it. Of course, the regular software like video players worked. As I said, I managed to get Shrek 2 to run on here just fine, and it's a nice experience. It's just something about the old movie combined with the old menu of Windows Media Player, the old TV, the Vista stuff. It just awakened a need I never knew I had. It was just mystical, until the software crashed 40 minutes in. Then I felt reality come back to me. I have no idea why it crashed 40 minutes in, but I think it was probably because the disc was scratched, but it annoyed me. But the Windows 7 for Dummies book video, yeah, they have videos. Did you know that? Yeah, I didn't know that, but just don't ask why the Windows 7 for Dummies thing works so well on here, or why I'm using it. I also tested the default software like the file manager, the slide menu thingy. It all works well. Customizing Vista is a quick and easy process as well. It can result in some good, nice wallpapers like this Sakuya Izoi with the blue arrow, so yeah. And because this PC can run Vista well and has been rated properly by Vista, it can use the fancy Vista menus, which can be customized as well to get more arrow themes, which is nice. Photoshop CS2 from 2005 works well on Vista, and it can take care of all your editing needs. It managed to run this time, unlike launch Vista. This one actually works, so that's nice. You can edit photos. Yay. I like editing photos. And the fact it wasn't even made for Vista makes the fact it works so well just even better. I tried Office 2007. That didn't work. It just didn't work. Yay, Microsoft software. And of course, the fans of Vista and XP made a modified version of Chromium called Supermium. When installing, you can choose what you want to install, and once it's done installing, you can connect it to the internet and it works as a browser. I don't actually suggest going online for many reasons, but if you want to Google stuff on Windows Vista, and if you want to do that and have it actually work, and you can do that, I suggest this. It's made by some guy called Shane Forner. YouTube even works on here. I mean, if you're into this, I can't really stop you from doing this. And if you want to browse online, AVG antivirus still works on Vista, and it's what I use on Windows 11, and I suggest if you want to do stupid stuff online, use AVG antivirus. But I know what you guys are truly interested in. Does it play games? Why, yes. Yes, it does. Let's start with a personal favorite of mine, Touhou 7, a shoot-'em-up bullet hell game. Installing Touhou 7 actually was quite fast this time, and it actually works. As you can see, with the better graphics card, the Vista PC is able to properly generate the 3D scrolling backgrounds, as seen in the other Windows Touhou games. Recording and playing the game at the same time works well. Now you can watch me destroy the Ice Fairy Cyrano. I can't pronounce the name because there's so many different pronunciations. And as you can see, this may be one of the better PCs for playing these Touhou games, because there are many mods that you can install that allow the modern games to work on XP, so there's the possibility that I may be able to play the entire Touhou series on Vista. The only issue is that the wave music doesn't work, but MIDI does, and I'm not too mad about that. I also managed to get Windows Vista to run big rigs. It's big rigs, what did you expect? So let's just see how much better big rigs is on a properly working Vista machine. It's about the same as like any other machine, but there's no way to make big rigs playable and actually fun. The only issue here is the sound. Big rigs doesn't have music, but has engine noises, I think. So I will count this as an issue with Vista, or just big rigs. I really don't know. But otherwise, being a Windows 98 game on Vista, it works well. But it does seem to have issues with Windows 95 software, as expected. The Windows 95 educational software from earlier still doesn't work. I don't think anyone was expecting it to. It's what I use to test Windows XP, but sometimes things have to be let go. Oh yeah, the 2001 Duke Nukem Forever demo can run on here as well. 3D works well on this, and it's something I was a bit surprised by. I underestimated the $16 graphics card, but it truly pulled through. Oh yeah, here's the hit indie game Undertale. Yay. I quite like it. It can run Vista too, which is nice considering Toby didn't have to do that. Undertale was released in 2015, but a lot of people still used XP and Vista, so it works and works well. Also, hit indie horror franchise FNAF works on here. The first few FNAF games work on Vista. I have FNAF 3 here because I like the Rabbit Man. Because of the internet on Windows Vista, I was able to install all the drivers for all the hardware. This is just something I should have mentioned prior, but software like Snappy Driver Installer is just so convenient for stuff like this. I suggest if you want to do something dumb like this, that's the way to go. So, Windows Vista SP2 on a PC that can actually run it properly. It works quite well with very little issue, so you can see how someone can have a very different opinion on Vista compared to a launch Vista user on another PC. Windows Vista here can play cool modern games, run Office software apparently, but I didn't get that to work, and play movies. All the things a good OS can do, which explains why it was so divisive back in the day, because you could have very easily gotten a Vista ready PC and have it just not work because of how bad the PC was and how bad Vista was. If Vista had been released with less stuff and been made less powerful, maybe it wouldn't have been as hated. But I like what we got because the experience is quite nice other than some minor issues. So after seeing some of the worst and absolute best Vista can provide, you must be asking now, why was Vista so hated? It's quite obvious, I've said it before. First impressions matter, and if you mess up that first impression badly enough like Windows Vista did, it's quite hard to win the public's favor back. The public doesn't care about SP1, SP2, or any updates. They care about the first boot up, and boy, did they mess up. Hardware manufacturers that sold PCs said that they were good for Vista, but didn't even meet the hardware requirements to not have it completely useless. And when people went to upgrade to Vista, the launch version, and even SP1 suffered from a lot of issues, and it ran terribly on past computers. Apple even began to target Vista users who had suffered, and it worked. Even in the comments of this old YouTube video, you can see people who suffered due to Vista, and those who had no issue with it. Vista by the end of its life was a good OS. It just failed at its job of being the stepping stone between XP and the way more powerful at the time Windows 7. It strayed too close to Windows 7 during its development, and that caused a whole mess. And it released later than it should have, due to its troubled development. If it had been not that horrible in development and stuck to its original intention, and if it was more like XP, which is what people wanted, they hate change, it might have been better received, but that's not what happened. I like Windows Vista for what it became in SP2, despite its flaws, and if it had been what the public wanted, I'm not sure I would even like Vista. I like Vista for what it is, not what it could have been, not what it should have been. I like it despite its flaws, despite everything. There isn't another OS quite like Vista. Windows 7 gets close, but it isn't the same to me. I can't fully say why I like Vista, but I can say, you, the person watching the video, before you hate on Vista, give it a good try if you can, be it on a VM or on real hardware. Try something before you judge it. Who knows, maybe you might end up liking it. Now for the final segment, I found something pretty interesting. Something for 64-bit operating systems. It's called the extended kernel and allows Vista users to use programs from newer Windows systems. And it's pretty impressive work. If you have 64-bit Vista, I suggest you go give it a look. If you guys want me to, I may cover it in a future video, once I get 64-bit Vista working. That's all for today's vlogs. See you next time. Sorry if I haven't been living up to promises. I just can't make all the videos I plan because my schedule's been a bit full recently, and I can't really control that, so it's been stressing me out. So I hope this video makes it up to you guys. Well, thanks for watching, and if you guys are interested in more Vista content, just say so. I am very much willing to make more. I'm still working on my Vista setup all the time, so I could easily make a new video on it. And thanks to Rapapa the Pepper for helping me, oh god I butchered that name, for helping me with software seen in the video. If it wasn't for him, this video might have been a bit shorter and a bit worse off. The video's over. So, when looking up Vista, I found something pretty funny. Apparently, this thing called OS X or whatever, no one agreed what Vista should look like as an anime girl, so I just find that pretty funny. That also implies that there has been at least one argument over which Vista anime girl is the best.